Marx once said, "Sometimes people try to destroy you precisely because they recognize your power. Not because they don't see it, but because they see it and they don't want it to exist." This line portrays the lifelong struggles of women in society, be it in the family, be it to make decisions for herself, be it a question of their identity, or be it to cover their own body. Many women have fought and struggled to completely annihilate the deeply rooted customs and freed other women and those from future generations from suppressive norms. Today, I will talk about one such legend named Nangeli, who fought against the atrocity of Brahmins in order to end the humiliation and further entrenchment of non-dominant sections of society. The coerced imposition on women in terms of covering faces and different body parts still prevails in different corners of the world. Ishava women are one of the fighters in Kerala who have fought humongous battles and protested against caste-based discrimination to eradicate inhuman breast tax, also known as Moolakaran, which means a tax that has to be paid by non-dominant caste women in order to cover their breasts in public places. Ishava women were left out of the frame of modern India when it came to equity and equality for everyone. This tax was solely imposed on non-dominant caste, which continued till 1924. A woman named Nangeli, who used to live in Cheratala village in the erstwhile princely state of Travancore with her husband Chirukandan in the 19th century. The breast tax was considered to be a kind of respect to the Brahmins or ruling class. This act carried various aspects. Tax depended upon the size of the breast. The royal officers would visit every month to collect taxes from those who reached puberty and ensure that every woman was adopting this heinous custom. Nangeli was also paying this tax. She often pondered upon the question of one's own body as their biggest liability. It begged the question, is it imperative to get permission from someone to cover their body parts publicly? Then she decided that enough is enough. She had enough humiliation and insults to her dignity and self-respect in society. One day, village tax collector was on his regular visit and started collecting the pending taxes. They also asked Nangeli to pay her tax amount, but she kept him waiting for a while. She laid down a plantain leaf, lit a lamp, then cut off her breasts, served them on the leaf instead of money to end the brutality of the king and the breast tax system once and for all. Nangeli succumbed to death after the immense blood loss. The news of Nangeli's death shattered her husband. He could not bear the loss of his beloved wife and jumped into the funeral pyre and took his own life in what was supposedly the first male sati. The couple was childless. The place where Nangeli made her sacrifice and her last stand is called Mulachipurambu. The king of Travancore abolished the heinous tax system immediately after her death. Nangeli's death had sparked a protest among the women who were paying the breast tax, and they put an end to it in 1924. Different parties have different accounts of Nangeli's revolt. An article in Velivada states that she did not chop off her breasts in protest. Instead, she outright refused to pay the tax. The tax collector was so enraged about a non-dominant caste woman standing up to him, he sent a mob of goons to her house. They sexually assaulted her and chopped off her breasts with their swords, following which the cowardly king of Travancore announced that she took her own life but never mentioned that what actual circumstances were behind her death for the sake of disavowing all responsibility from the heinous act and in fear of protests. CBSE had an entire chapter in NCERT textbook of social sciences about the protests undertaken by men and women to rebel against the adherents of breast tax system. The section was named Caste Conflict and Dress Change, which was legally removed from the syllabus immediately after the Madras High Court marked it as objectionable content. It was removed from the syllabus on the grounds of being a negative influence on students' thoughts. It was also a subject matter of disputes and conflicts because no historical records. The court reasoned it held a degrading value because no actual records as to when it started or ended, and that it was all based on assumptions. Further, they added that the assumptions has no place in historical narratives in India. Nangeli's story has been written off as a source of embarrassment when it comes to Indian curriculum. An assistant professor, Santosh R., said in one of his interviews that the dismissal of her story culminates in a previous actions taken by the government to render highly sanitized sections of Indian history to young generation. The latter are being deprived of acknowledging a better understanding of historical evolution of women and the essence of gender and caste relation in India. It's incredibly unfair to the current generation and coming ones by removing the vital lesson from the curriculum and heading into the direction of subverting the education system and movements led by anti-caste struggles. Is this the only way for women to get rid of discrimination and violence? Is it really imperative to end one's life to completely boycott of such rules and regulation which are completely filled with loathing and are of the byproducts of caste and patriarchy? Nangeli's death had outraged the Ezhwa community, and there were some discourse about protests against the breast tax happening before her death, but the fear of repercussions from dominant caste and being unable to form a system of unity among each other had thwarted them. Following her death, there were huge uprisings of people's movement. A strong woman stands up for herself. A stronger woman stands up for everybody else. Appropriately said by Joan of Arc, there are very few women whose pioneering actions are commemorated by the society to a large extent. Nangeli's sacrifice might not have taken place in historical context, but she will always be remembered for her bravery and courage in resisting the functioning of system, and her legacy will always live on.